This is Jay Michaels, and if you have tuned in thus far, you have heard from dozens of filmmakers who have told us amazing parables from amazing movies done by amazing individuals. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many films, so many filmmakers involved in Boston Sci-Fi. Now, this is Boston Sci-Fi 47. That's 47 years, nearly a half a century, that Boston Sci-Fi has been bringing you the finest in genre entertainment. And I'm not kidding. I'm not blowing smoke when I say the finest. I have heard stories that have left me breathless, and hopefully you'll be the same. And here's some more now. Let's start with Alex. Alex, please tell us about your film.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having us all together. And I have to say, I was pretty amazed with your organizational feat by getting all that email in and all of a sudden turning it around. We had a schedule, so bravo. So yeah, Thirsty is, we're really pleased. We shot this film in the middle of the pandemic. I'm a songwriter. I am also a composer for TV and film, but I make records and I write songs. And I was fortunate enough several years back to meet a director named Josh Peterson, who couldn't be here today. He's busy editing something, but he'll be at the festival if we get to go out in person. But anyway, we've worked on a number of things together. He's kind of a one-man band when it comes to filmmaking. He has a rig that fits in his backpack and there's no crew. We make these movies very cheaply using natural light. So this film was a song that I wrote called Thirsty, and it takes place, it takes place in California, and it's kind of a reflection of what's been going on with our droughts and our fires. So I wrote this song and sent it over to Josh, and he immediately sort of got into it and called up his former mentor, Rob Nielsen, who's an 81-year-old sort of a collaborator of John Cassavetes. So he's an actor these days and a filmmaker. And we just went out to the desert, and Josh had a pretty, well planned out itinerary of the shots that he wanted. And we had our windows down and our masks on, and we were able to shoot it in the middle of COVID. It was great. It was amazing fun. And, come June, we premiered it at Tribeca, and it, we got an opening slot for Mad Max Fury Road at the Rose Bowl Drive-In. So the film's kind of resonating. It's a 4-minute music video, basically, but we don't call it music videos. We call them films. We're trying to elevate the art of the video, is what we're doing, Josh and I.
What's the premise again? Tell us the premise.
Well, it's the story of this old man, Rob Nielsen, who you see you would think is the end of his life. And he takes a journey, and he goes and he sees what he can find to try and make sense of his life, and confronts, there's an environmental reckoning and a personal reckoning that he confronts. And
it's really interesting that your time travel and time seems to be an underlying foundation to so many of these movies, even when the plot is not about that. I think because we had 2 years almost of nothing but time, of sitting in our homes, that it really gave us a chance, number one, to really explore ourselves, and number two, to really understand what time is about. What you don't know it till you lose it, and we've lost almost 2 years. So it's a really great premise that you have in there. Music video, that's so cool, and you're turning it into a film like that. I think that's wonderful. You bridge so many different disciplines that way, so that so many people can enjoy this on so many levels. You also harken back to the good old days in the 70s, where they took winning songs and suddenly made a movie out of them. So you're giving us retro, and you're putting it well into the future. Really great. Good for you. Congratulations. Okay, I'm going to sit back, and I don't think I've ever said this, I'm going to bop along with that science fiction that I'm going to see. So I look forward to your piece. Izzy, your name of the movie is Meet Friend?
Yep.
Oh, man. Okay, tell me all about it. Wow.
So speaking of pandemic, I created a bit of a heightened reality to escape the one that we're living in right now. Going on the third year of this nonsense, I've needed crazier distractions. And so I decided to make one. And basically, Meat Friend is a sentient pile of hamburger meat that's also an ex-con that teaches really weird lessons to kids after school special style.
Really?
Uh-huh. It's a comedy as well as a sort of a cult midnight type of a short with a little bit of science sprinkled in. Science, very loose science.
Interesting. So this is not for kids, but this is the parable.
This is for us to laugh at
This is
situations
Adult
with
Swim.
children involved.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. I really love when people pound against a particular genre until it cracks, and to play the after school special, but in this way, you're going to get a lot of people who are going to, again, they're going to walk in and say, "Oh, how cute," and this, and that's the end of that.
Oh, it becomes very not cute very soon.
Wow. I'd said this to a couple other filmmakers who started by saying, "Well, my film's a comedy." Something tells me the smile is going to be wiped off their face really quickly.
It depends, you know, it depends on what your sense of humor is. I've gotten a lot of really great reactions from people that tell me I should pitch it to Adult Swim and sell merch. So I don't know if I'll do any of that, but they had a lot of fun.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do
Yeah.
it. We're brave enough to make a movie in pandemic. Pitching it, yeah, it's easy.
Well, it's a short
Yeah,
film, so, you know, working with a puppet and a child star in 102-degree heat in Burbank was challenging. But I'm excited to see it play. Boston Sci-Fi played another of my short, My Monster, a couple years back, and we had the greatest audiences of any film that I've ever played anywhere. So it's exciting to be back.
Well, then may this beat that. Well done. Very well done. Raphael, tell me all about your film.
Hello, Jay. Thank you. I am the writer and director of Golem. Golem is a short film about this actress, Christina. She's really desperate because she just lost her co-star and she has to perform for a very important agent in a matter of hours. And she resorts to the only available tool that she has, that is her really clumsy and unimaginative robot. And that's Golem. So it's a story about this actress that has to teach to this robot how to become an actor. And it's also a comedy, and like Izzy was saying, like with a puppet, for us, it was a little bit harder because I love, like, you know, practical physical effects. And we made a suit. We decided that we were going to do a really complicated suit for our actors. So the character of Golem is portrayed by two actors, by the way. One actor is inside the suit, and the second one is because I love, you know, like Jim Henson, and you see right now with Baby Yoda, you have like 3-4 performers at the same time doing different stuff. So with Golem, we had a second actress mic'd up, and using an Xbox controller, we developed like this software for the face of the robot. So she would talk like, hello, you know, like the buttons, we speak through syllables, and she would say hello. And with the other, the analog sticks, she would use the emotions. So we developed like a video game to control the face of Golem, of a robot. And putting aside the pandemic that was really hard, and I know that applies for a lot, everyone here, but I think the most challenging thing with us was trying to find a way for the actors to work with the actress, you know, because we made this like to work in tandem and create this choreography and create all of the mechanics that they would develop inside the story without seeing each other. It was weird and really fun. So there you go. Yeah.
So it's an autobiography about an actress trying to teach a robot to act while the filmmaker is trying to make the robot act.
Yes, sort of, because yeah, a lot of what we ended up shooting became like the rule. We had a really strict shoot with all the pandemic going on, but in the months prior to that, to the shoot, we had the opportunity to improvise and to find stuff. And when we got to the set, everything was like ironed, you know, like really ready for the shoot. But it was fun and hard. But yeah.
I think, and you use it's why do you call your movie Golem? Why is this creature called a golem?
Golem, well, even if we are Mexicans, we here it's more like the Catholic church and stuff, but it's about the Jew myth of the golem, you know, the clay creature that this rabbi gave a purpose, and then, you know, I don't want to be a little bit too spoilery, but he ends up destroying stuff. And you can, there's I think it's a German expressionist movie in the 40s or something about the myth of the golem. So it's based in about that, but taken into a new context. So we are giving our robot the possibility to perform and to interpret emotions, and something is going to happen at the end of the movie. But yeah.
Really interesting. The golem is an ancient legend. Yes, it's an ancient Jewish legend. And it's about a creature made of clay that eventually attacks its creator. It was the basis. It was one of the basis in terms of Frankenstein. It was the myth is that old that Mary Shelley knew that myth as part of it, and then obviously film versions have capitalized on it. And it was a great silent film of the 20s, if I remember correctly.
20s, yeah.
I really like the fact you're calling it Golem. You could have given it some fancy name, you know, the robot that when you could give it some fancy, cool computerized sort of sounding name, but you're taking us all the way back to mythology, to ancient legends, and it really shows something. You're talking about making this robot act, but that's really scary, because how many actors are terrified because now people can animate so quickly that how many performers, you know, you think performing is the last thing, you can't automate that. Oh yeah. So you're giving us a very terrifying tale.
I am sure that in, I don't know, maybe 20 years tops, we will be able to say to whatever Alexa is in the future, we can ask her to interpret, to perform something. The way things are evolving right now, that's something that's going to happen even for us as artists. Right now we have AI creating paintings and scripts, you know, so something's going to happen in the future. Yeah.
I share quickly with you, I don't have Alexa, I have the Google version of it. And at one point, and I could be very vulgar, and I'm not going to be vulgar here. I can, when I get angry, I scream epithets easily. And at one point, I said something to it. I was like, okay, Google, and it gave me the answer I didn't want. I said, well, I'm screaming at this machine. And out of nowhere, this machine said to my wife and I, don't speak to me like that.
Oh,
now, obviously,
oh,
obviously, it was some sort of parental control that's in our machine, so that if it's that way, it stops, you know, the use of such bad language. And it stopped me in my tracks because my little computer just said that I had a potty mouth. So I got to tell you, 20 years? In 20 years, Alexa's going to be interviewing the next group of filmmakers and be able to ask their questions.
And maybe asking the next AI filmmakers. I don't know.
Yeah, so we're all in fear of our jobs. So let's do a really good job now before we're replaced by Alexa or the next. Speaking of the next, the gentleman in my center screen, your name is in another language. Is it Korean?
No, Japanese.
Japanese, my apologies. It's in Japanese.
I'm sorry.
I didn't even know which dialect it was, so sorry. I don't know your name. Please introduce yourself.
It's Chinese characters. My name is Mitsuya Sakai.
Tell us about your movie.
I'm the writer, director, and producer of the movie called Orbital Christmas. It's set in the near future, and first of all, I apologize my bad English. Even I graduated American University, my English is still too bad. Sorry.
Oh, an American university. That's why your English is terrible. Okay, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Please tell us about your film. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's set in the near future's small space station going around the Earth, and on the stations, one Muslim engineer working alone because of the Christmas season. Everybody else going home. So then he met a small Japanese girl who wanted to look for her father in Japan, and he tries to help her about looking for her father. And this is about from my impression from about the Muslim peoples. I went to the American University in 2007 to 2010. And before that, I was born and raised and working in Japan almost 40 years. And I have no knowledge about the Muslim peoples. And I'm, Japanese, I'm a Buddhist. And I know about the Christian culture, but it's the first time living in that. So, and I spent the days in the university in California. I knew that nothing nothing is different. Any person from any kind of the culture or countries, and but nowadays things are going worse and worse about the racial things in United States and in Japan, and so I try to make some, I'm not sure about some dream project of me about, I'm dreaming about the happy future things. Everybody works and lives together kind of things. So this is.
What's fascinating about yours is it takes place on a space station. Why did I pick this? Because you are talking about the great beyond. You're talking, this is, you yourself in this film is a parable of all religions, it seems. Yes. Here's this Muslim helping this Japanese girl during Christmas. This whole, we get this religious parable of the great beyond and how we're all the same to the other world. And where is it being done? On another world. So it really is a fascinating juxtaposition of religion, and very brave of you. If you had told me you're a theology student and you studied this and you entered the priesthood and all of that, okay, the fact that you've taken your own curiosity and you've said, I want to learn more about these religions. Now I want to take them and I want to give it to the world. You're becoming a priest of the cinema, because you're sharing all of these with us. Really great.
And my day job is writer for the Japanese animations. So I think you know about those kind of things, giant robots, future wars kind of things. I'm a little tired about that. So I want to make a peaceful story by myself.
What's really interesting is so much of Japanese animation, anime, is based on mythology, is based again on the spiritual end, if you will, the mythological end. So you and your film are just immersed in this theological concept. I look forward to your movie, and I hope it's as much fun for us as it probably was for you to make it. Just the fact, okay, I had a German filmmaker in another interview, and he was like, I hate my day job, and I couldn't wait to go and do this movie. And so it's great to hear you say, okay, I hate my this, let me go someplace else.
Okay. Yeah, I love my day job too, because, my latest work is Star Wars Visions, Japanese version of the Star Wars. I wrote one of the episodes of that. I really love those things, but sometimes I try to do something more peaceful kind of things,
Right. We can't talk about Star Wars. That's a religion in and of itself. So we'll take it there, and we'll go to Jason. Jason Miller, tell us about your film.
Hi, thanks for having me. My film is Madelines, and it's a sci-fi comedy. It's about a husband and wife who invent time travel, and when they execute the code that enables them to time travel, they make a mistake, and the wife, Madeline, creates a copy of herself that shows up every day, and they have to kill each new Madeline because they think that the universe will collapse in on itself. But the more important thing that's happening in the story is their relationship is possibly deteriorating with all these new Madelines that arrive to the planet.
I hear the parable of the dysfunctional marriage or the dysfunctional relationship. When one partner looks at the other and says, why can't you be, and fill in the blanks. So you're making this fantastical in the sense, yes, this relationship is crumbling, and every version that comes in is just not helping the situation.
Yes, exactly.
What gave you the idea for that? What gave you the idea to take the dysfunctional relationship to the fantastical level?
I mean, it's just something that's been in the back of my mind. I mean, obviously, you know, with bad relationships in the past, that's something that, you know, you think of. But I mean, this story came about because my writing partner, Bria Grant, who's also the star of the film, she and I were in development with this other sci-fi movie that had a much larger budget, and we were just in development hell for like a full year, and we really were like not happy with what was happening. It was turning into like an Avengers movie, and it was supposed to be the sweet, like little, you know, indie movie. And so at the end, we kind of just took our story back and walked away, and we decided we wanted to make something on our own. So I had this short film that I wrote a long time ago, which is, you know, Madelines, but it was a lot darker and very like more in the vein of like horror. And it was just like, it was too dark to make. That's why it was on the back burner for me. And I kind of pitched it to her as more of a comedy version of it. And she loved it. And we wrote it, you know, really quickly, and we found the money really quickly for it. And so we made it on our own, and we're showing it at Boston, which is awesome for me. I'm from Boston. I live in LA now, but I'm excited to bring it home to show everyone.
There's a pagan parable that says things grow where they're needed. And basically, of course, you found the money. Of course, it came all together. Now is the time for the movie. Now is the audience who wants to hear this. Now is the way it should be done. So congratulations to you. I love the fact that so many science fiction films, it's almost like Grimm's fairy tales. It's not about the troll. It's about getting over the bridge guarded by the troll. And so yours is not about, you know, some science fiction, whatever. The science fiction is part of the human condition that's within this elevated film. Really interesting. Looking forward to seeing it. But you only have good relationships, and this at no point could be any further autobiographical. I look forward to this movie. Thank you very much. Alec Cohen, tell us about your film.
Hi, thanks for having our film at Boston. We're really excited about it. The film is called Early to Rise. It's actually, what you'll be seeing is 2 episodes of a 6-episode series, and it's about 3 kind of like low-level astronauts who are on their way to another solar system on a long-range mining expedition, and they get woken up in their pods 90 years too early. They're stuck, and all they can do is kind of shoot the shit and kill time. They get drunk, you know, they try to have sex, they get somebody killed, they get another spaceship eaten by an alien whale. So, I mean, they get into all kinds of situations. And
So this is Stoners in Space.
yeah, except, yeah, they wish. All they can do is chew on the lining of their space pods and kind of get high off of the adhesive.
Okay. We think this is a comedy.
Yes.
We
I
think
hope
so.
Yeah.
But how many of us look back on our lives sometime and said, why did I waste my 20s? Why was I stoned all through my teens? Why did I waste my 30s? Why was I at this job that I hated? Why was I in this relationship that I've hated? Why did I waste time? So yours is the intergalactic version of why did I waste time? And it's also making a little nudge. I don't know how they're awakened in it, but it also gives a nudge to technology and how it's abusive to humankind. You know, we praise technology, but there's another very dark side of it.
You know, that like feeling of being trapped and helpless within a world, you know, like surrounded by technology is where part of the idea came from. But you dug a lot deeper than I had into my own background about wasting time. So how dare you do that to me in front of all these people?
I have watched and clocked horror movies and science fiction films for about 50 years. So I'd better be able to hear about a movie and hear what's going on in there. I have the expression, are you a genius on purpose or by accident? Apparently you're a genius by accident. This was in your brain, man. This was thoughts in your brain and you knew how to put it out there. It doesn't take much to talk about it. It takes everything to do it. So I congratulate you on taking this powerful message and handing us something where we're going to laugh for a moment until we go, wait a minute. And then you give us a chance to sit and think about it. Well done. Very well done. Speaking of well done, Tom O'Brien. Look at you. Oh, these awards behind your head and everything like that. You are a marketing campaign. There you go.
On it.
Tell me about your movie.
Sure. Thanks, Jay. My name is Tom O'Brien. I am the writer and director of our film called Another Clover. And in it, descendants of a secret World War II military group, the Clover, discover that they possess psychic powers. So this is based on a TV pilot that I wrote, and that takes place in 1943. Those kind of logistics can be a nightmare, and I wanted to do a proof of concept for it, and I still will, but I decided to do a modern day version. And so I just took the same characters that are still involved as we see what happened when what they did, but it's their grandchildren who possess the same powers that they have.
Why grandchildren? Why did you make it that way?
Because I wanted to do modern day version. The original is 1943. And I'll explain, because the pitch of the 1943 pilot is a World War II hero with PTSD is hunted by Nazis, haunted by new psychic powers, and hounded by the military to decipher experiments from his dead godfather, Nikola Tesla. So I did not set out to do a period piece. I set out to write modern day because that's what our team usually does. I started diving into the time period of 1943, and I have the main character, for instance, is an OSS agent, which is the precursor to the CIA. He's joined by a Tuskegee Airman and a Navajo code talker. So there's a whole lot going on, and there's, for me, as a TV pilot, there's a whole lot of possibility of a lot of different arcs and story, and so that's what appealed to it about for me. And to do a modern day version of it just shows like the universe of it. It's the same universe. It's just years later.
You're also making a huge statement, because you're talking about the greatest generation, and you're transporting us all the way now into the millennial thought pattern. So and the use of and now psychic powers, again, you're talking about something spiritual, something human within us. You know, they don't clasp an organism to their head and they do it. It's
Right.
it's them. So you're giving a powerful statement about government. You're giving a powerful statement about how we are treated again as people, because of course how this soldier with PTSD, before they called it PTSD,
Right.
was haunted by what he did to save his country, and how even his country is abandoning him and abusing him. And it goes all the way now, and you're making the parable, are we still abused today? Is this, and pardon that I go for the stereotype, are the millennials because of what was done all the way back to the greatest generation? So you're giving us a lot of thought process, and of course you're a marketing genius. So now us mature folk will latch on to the notion of the 1940s, and now you have you also have your demographic, your young demographic, who are going to latch on to this. So you're a clever marketer as well as filmmaker.
Right. Thank you. All the quadrants are represented. Definitely. And I want to say you're so right about back in World War II. I think it may have been called battle fatigue. It was PTSD, and so for the statement to say a World War II hero with PTSD, that doesn't jive with that time period, but it is a statement about truth.
PTSD only started when we finally admitted we're losing wars.
Right. Right.
It only started when we finally said, okay, this sucks. Why did we do it? What was the problem? And now we see what we've done to soldiers. Back then they were heroes. Back then they came home as heroes, and that was it. And if they were damaged because of it, well, what's wrong with them?
Right.
Battle fatigue, get over it. Take a nap, get a cup of coffee, walk it off. My father-in-law, who was in the Korean War, he used to say, walk it off.
Smoke them if you got them.
Yeah, thank you. And so it really shows a very powerful image of us. Maybe what you're doing by putting it to the character's grandparents is showing that maybe we're finally admitting we're human.
And it shows how similar they are too. It shows some things do not change.
That's right.
No.
That's right. It takes a sci-fi film to show us that we're human. Okay.
Thank you, Jay.
You're all exemplifying my thoughts on science fiction, horror, and fantasy. Stephanie, exemplify my thoughts. Tell me about your film.
Wow, how great do all these films sound? I want to watch them all right now. So it's really exciting. My film is called Echo Pines, and it is set in a pine forest deep in the southern region of Australia, which there aren't many pine forests around this country. So it's about this a detective who is on the case of a missing person for a 10-year-old girl. And as she investigates further and further, weirder and weirder things start happening.
So we have this detective thriller
Yes.
with the otherworldly, I won't say supernatural, I'll say otherworldly aspect
Yes,
to it.
that's a great description for it. Definitely otherworldly. Yeah.
If correct me if I'm wrong, Australia had one of the longest, if not the longest, lockdowns during pandemic.
Yeah, we've had several lockdowns, but the last one I think was 4 months long.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually, was, I actually filmed this in 2019. So just before the pandemic hit. And we were about 2 days off finishing post-production when everything shut down. So we couldn't finish the film for about a year. So it was sitting there. It was just sitting there in the facilities and we couldn't get in. So.
Wow. I had a playwright friend who had that. His play was supposed to open Friday the 13th, March 2020. He rehearsed all the way through, tech and everything, costumes prepared, there it is, and shut down.
Yeah,
It never opened up. It never opened up at all. He eventually did a reading of it on Zoom, but he was this bitter, angry man because of it. I am so glad you're not a bitter, angry man. That
Yes, me too.
that your film was able to be done.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
interesting you pick the otherworldly aspect, considering where you were with the lockdown so much. You were probably in your head more than most, being locked down for so long.
Yeah, it was great because this was actually, it's made as a proof of concept for a TV series. And it's sort of in the vibe of I don't know if you know the German series Dark. We have a series that was made here in Australia called The Kettering Incident, which is fantastic. And they're sort of these unexplainable things happen to people, you know, in these towns. And you know, it's sort of about that small town world colliding with huge other world dimensional things, you know.
There's the parable of the other world being up here sometimes, colliding with what's happening out here.
Exactly, and that sense of isolation as well as part of that. Yeah.
That changed everything for everyone. I wish you so much luck with this. I'm so glad. Congratulations. I'm glad it was done. I'm glad it's able now to be shown at Boston Sci-Fi.
I'm so excited that it's going to be at Boston Sci-Fi. It's the only place where I have family in the US, so it's great. The first city I ever visited in the US was Boston. So.
Oh, that's perfect. I can see your family. Right, let's get over and see it. Right here it is. It's where we are. I'm saying that your family in Boston has an Australian accent. Oh, good.
Yeah.
How ignorant of me.
They don't. They're American.
Oh, okay. I wish you all the luck with this. I wish you all the best of luck with your projects. As I've said, you should be complimented over and over again. You have taken this pandemic and said, I'm not going to sit around and watch Tiger King. I'm going to conquer. And you've made these movies under such conditions. You've opened up your mind, you've opened up your resources, and then you've opened your hearts and handed it to all of us during this film festival. And I thank you all so much for that. And I really look forward to seeing your films. Best of luck to all of you at the festival and beyond.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Thank you.